morning. So I just had breakfast at my hotel and now I am walking on Regeringsk something street on my way down to the harbor because I'm going to catch a boat to go see the Royal Palace, and I'm excited. I'm in Stockholm, by the way, didn't tell you that, but yes, welcome to Stockholm, where they did in fact serve meatballs at breakfast time. I opted for scrambled eggs, but yeah, let's go. So I've learned a few things about the Swedish during my walk. They are not morning people. It's about 9:30 and not even the cafes are open yet. I don't know where people are supposed to get their coffee, but there aren't any people around, except for me and all the other tourists. Second thing I've learned, they have some awesome churches. Take a look at this. How gorgeous is that church? I don't even want to know what the inside looks like. That is so beautiful. It is the Jakobskirke, which is Jacob's church, and I have no idea when it was built, who built it, why it's orangish red, why it's so pretty, but I'm enjoying it. So you probably can't hear me because of the wind, but I am on the Prince Carl something boat on my way to the Royal Palace. So I'll show you what it looks like along the way. I've just arrived in Drottningholm, which is where the Royal Palace is. I took the Prince Carl Philip boat to get here, MS Prince Carl Philip. Right now I'm going to go to the bathroom and then I'm going to explore the gardens and see the tour. So just behind me is the palace, and then there's Hercules Fountain, which I can't get closer to. I wish I could. Obviously there's no water in it right now. But there's Hercules and the palace, and I'm gonna head this way, which is straight up the middle of the garden, to see what there is to see. Sad news, guys. We are a few hundred years too late for the maze. Apparently the maze was here in the 1780s, and it was in this field. And it would take you 2.5 K of walking around through here to get to that guy, the nice statue in the middle, and then you'd have to walk 2.5 K back out. And you can see there's still kind of the maze like mown into the grass, but not as cool as I was expecting. I was expecting like big hedges and stuff. I mean, I just watched The Maze Runner. This is nothing compared to that. At Versailles, Marie Antoinette had that little village built in the garden for herself, and the King and Queen of Sweden did something similar to that. In the 18th century they had this little palace built, which is just a little retreat for them, for when they didn't want to be in the public eye. And you can see why they call it the Chinese Pavilion, based on the architecture. Original construction on the palace started in 1576, I believe, but then in 1662 it actually was burned in a huge fire, so then they had to start again. But there are still parts of the original walls in there. but most of it is rebuilt, but still, it's quite old. It always amazes me, like, the detail and effort that they used to put into buildings. Like, you don't see that anymore, but it's just so gorgeous. Like, everything in here. It's just wow. And the staircase, pretty insane. I just finished the tour and it was so good. If you are ever in Stockholm and come to the palace, you should definitely take the tour. I learned that the kings and queens of Sweden kind of have hoarding problems, and that's why there are so many art galleries and museums here, just because they basically went bankrupt buying so much stuff from other countries. I also learned that the palace, that grand staircase that you saw earlier on, not marble. It's just bricks and then plaster over it, and then they've painted it to look like marble because they were worried about the fire hazard, understandably, after having a huge fire before. So it's just painted to look like marble. And Swedish royalty, not even really Swedish. They're mostly French and German because the Swedish royal line kind of died out pretty early on. So yeah, lots of stuff. Very cool. Now back on the boat. Made it back to Stockholm. Now we are going into there, which is the city hall, or Stadhus, which looks more like a giant mosque to me, but we will see what's in there. The tour is still going on, but I figured I'd tell you guys. This hall is the Golden Hall, and it's actual gold. It is a mosaic of glass and then some gold leaf between two layers of glass. So the whole room is covered in 24 karat gold. And they did the mosaic starting from the bottom up. So they started at the floor and worked their way up, which worked out well for most of the room, except for up there. You can see lost his head because they miscalculated and ran out of space. During the Nobel Prize banquet dinner, this is where they dance. And then out here is where they actually hand out the prizes. So this is the blue hall. And it doesn't look blue. The architect originally designed it. He was going to paint over the bricks and make them blue to represent the water in Stockholm. But then he liked the color of the red brick, so he left it red. And it was also supposed to not have a roof. But then he realized he's in Stockholm, where it snows and can't really have a banquet without a roof in December. So. But nevertheless, I love this city. I'm having such a blast. It's so pretty and just so, like, there's just a vibe about it that I'm really enjoying. I highly recommend you coming here at some time in your life. I just got back from that amazing supper at a restaurant called Tradition, which serves obviously traditional Swedish food. So I had Swedish potato dumplings filled with pork, with lingonberries and brown butter sauce, and oh my gosh, it was so good, but they were so filling that I could only eat like 2.5 of them. But anyways, I'm back in my hotel room now, and I'm just gonna relax a bit. It's still pretty early, but I'm just so exhausted because I got in pretty late yesterday, and it was a lot of walking around today. So I'm gonna edit this video for you, and more fun stuff is coming tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Hope you had a good day wherever you are, and I'll see you later. Bye! Talk about a nice bun!